Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. Hopefully, everyone is having an outstanding Sunday, the Lord's Day. Let's just real quick checking a little bit of the checking my mic sounds. I think it sounds okay. Let me know what you think. Oh, it sounds pretty good on my end. So grace and peace, everybody. Thank y'all so much for stopping by on this evening. I do apologize. Apparently, when I put in the time initially, it came up as 11 o'clock p.m. That's past my bedtime. So let me just let you know that. So I apologize about that. So I think someone mentioned that they thought the live was going to be, I mean, I could do it. I could do a late night live, but that's not my jam at all. So Eladio, good to see you. Good to see you, Kiana. I think Kiana said she's going to come in later and check it out. But I appreciate you all so much taking the time on this Sunday evening to hang out with me, kind of go over the week in woke. I do have some fun things to look at. I think I said I was going to go over a couple TikToks. Actually, I'm not, because I got a dusty comment. So we got to go ahead and give that comment that good old work and dust it off. But Eladio, your pastor preached today was from Ephesians chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, I'd love to hear, like, what was the actual title? I don't know why. I really like sermon titles because some of your pastors come up with some of the best titles, and I just like to hear them. So if you don't mind, what was the title of the sermon, as well as where was the reference points and such like that? That's always good. I just enjoy hearing them. And I hope thank you all for indulging me and giving me a little bit of joy and laughter in that. All right. Mary Double M said she went to a Presbyterian church. You know, I like those. Mary said she went to a Presbyterian church. It was great. Jason, he preached from John chapter 5, verse 30. All right. You know, hey, I'm biased toward those Presbyterian churches, even the Presbyterian Anglican church. If you know why I said that, you are my best friend. I tell you, if you know why I said that, you are my best friend. Let me pull up that dusty comment. I got to make sure that dusty comment is ready because we got to blow that dust off of that thing. Oh my gosh. It's long too. You know how I feel about those long, dusty comments. Don't be dusty and long-winded. This cat was super long-winded. Yep, I got him ready. All right. Mary, how are you doing? Lindsay, good to see you as well. Hebrews chapter 11 about Isaac's faith. Hey, you know, there's not many books of the Bible where I'm like, man, I want more information. The chapter 11 of Hebrews, when it talks about the hall of faith, that thing, I'm sorry, I could really read that for 12 more chapters. I wouldn't mind a synopsis of all of those stories. I just wouldn't mind it, not one bit. If I'm not saying that God didn't give us a complete scriptures or anything like that, but if God had said, look, I'm gonna give you, 9 chapters of just the hall of faith, I would have loved it. I would have absolutely loved it. I'm thankful for it, but I'm thankful for what we have, but boy, I could listen to more of that. It's always encouraging to read. Technically, it was a guest speaker, Eladio says, but the title was Imitating God in Our Work. Last week, the title was Lady Preachers, and it was in 1 Corinthians 14, 27 through 40. Wow, that's a lot. I love it. Thank you so much, friend. Hey, Q, good to see you. Good to see you. I mean, really, absolutely, Lindsay. It could be its own book. I would absolutely not be mad about it at all. The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, I could just, I don't know. I'm always encouraged. I feel cheated sometimes when he gets towards the middle, toward the end, and he just starts just rapid fire. Like, man, I want to read more. I want to hear more of that. So that's just me. What is going on, Hill? In the building. I'm assuming my pastor continued with Galatians since that's where he left off last week. But I have COVID again. Oh, I'm sorry, love. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you're on the upswing or on the down cycle of COVID. Hopefully you're getting better. Praying for you for sure. Q Shaw says that she was in Acts chapter 14 or 15. Which one was it, homie? I'm just messing with you. I went and visited some friends of ours today, and I come to find out the husband has a vending machine business. I did not know that. We've known them like, on the outskirts of friendship for years, but I didn't know the husband actually has several vending machines. Needless to say, we were in the garage talking about the vending machine business, and he has cases upon cases of Waterloo. I said, man, I've never wanted anybody to go bankrupt before, but brother, I hope you sell that and get some real water. So anyway. All right, let's see. Eladio says Hebrews 11 is an awesome chapter. Curious how many in that hall of faith have major faults, and some died without seeing their promise. Others died. Goes against word of faith heresy. Absolutely. Hebrews, in my opinion, the book of Hebrews is the book. I mean, besides many others, but I think definitely you can just use the book of Hebrews to really set some people straight on word of faith doctrine and heresy. Shout out from our Harrisburg campus. I was not sure I would be here, but I think the race may go under the red flag due to issues with the lights in turns 3 and 4. If you don't know, Mark Moore is our resident NASCAR and a race car enthusiast. So thank you so much, Mark, for stopping by today and giving us an update. Appreciate you, brother. There we go, fixing the mic around, playing around here. By the way, got a new computer, rearranged the lights. I'm going to be doing a couple more rearranging in here, and we'll probably do a behind the scenes. Just thank you all for your support and helping so that Dear World Christian here can do the work for Podium when I'm here at home. So thankfully, I have a new system here that I'll be able to do the work that I need to do for Podium Studios, keeping my clients happy and keeping them smiling so that they can keep me smiling when they pay those invoices. All right, let's keep this game going. How dare you? Waterloo now. Waterloo forever. Y'all stretch your hands towards Q and her poor taste buds. I mean, Waterloo tastes like water that doesn't live up to its potential. Like, I don't know what it is, but it tastes, it doesn't live up to its potential. Sorry. No other way around it. I'm sorry. You ain't gonna make me change my mind. It's over. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. Happy Lord's Day to everybody. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me on this evening. One of the things I want to talk about is, I'm sure you all have probably heard about it. It is a new movie coming out next year, and it is called The Book of Clarence. Now, many of you also know that Jason and Dear World Christian is just getting out of the sin bin as it relates to YouTube. And YouTube has just got me out of the sin bin where I'm no longer being penalized like they were doing. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the book of, hopefully you can see that. There we go. The Book of Clarence. However, the trailer is instantaneously demonetized. And what that means is if you play a clip from it, they will demonetize your entire video. So if you play a 10-second clip from the Book of Clarence on your video, your entire video, even though it was 2 hours long, can be demonetized. And because I'm just getting out the sin bin anyway, I don't need them to have another reason to take down my channel. So I did destroy the video and remove the audio from it and try to make it a little bit less appealing. And they still demonetized the video I did. I put it up just to see what would happen, and they still demonetized it. So I'm not trying to put Dear World Christian in that place today. I ain't got no time for that. So we're just going to go to the Vanity Fair article. All right, I see a couple comments here. I'm going to just put some stars on it. We're going to come back. So we're going to go to the Vanity Fair article. We're going to read this. And I know there is going to be a ton of pushback on this movie because I don't see what's appealing in it, truth be told, in my mind. I don't see what is appealing about this movie whatsoever. However, I know there's going to be a ton of pushback, and y'all can't see that. Jason, they're not going to be able to read that, man. That's a little better, not much. All right. So I'll just give you a synopsis of it. So this gentleman right here, and apparently he's a famous actor who was in The Harder They Fall. I do admit I'm not really big on movies, so I don't know exactly what role he played or the movies that he's played in. However, the gentleman that we can see him looking here with the twisted dreads, the dreaded afro, that's Clarence. And apparently he's living at the same time that Christ is in Jerusalem during his 3-year ministry in the Galilee area. And he's following around, kind of imitating Christ and trying to become the new Messiah. And just a couple of things to take away from, and I really do encourage you, if I could, I would play the trailer, because the trailer really answers a lot of these questions. One of the problems I noticed is that literally just about everybody in this movie is black. And what I mean by that is black African. They're dark skinned like me. Okay, fine. If you want to say that Jesus was black, I disagree with you. Okay, not a problem. We're going to give you that. But the vast majority of this movie was either highly melanated or less melanated people. There really was no in between. Now, if you can imagine, the highly melanated were the good guys, the disciples, Christ, Clarence. The less melanated people, the Romans. There was no real middle ground. There was no middle ground in the video at all. So this has been called blackwashing, where literally you go so far above and beyond to focus on ethnicity that now the video doesn't even make sense. But don't worry about it. It don't make sense any other way either. Let us keep going, Jason. How to do this? Okay. All right. So this character, this I dare I say Clarence, but let's just call him Clarence. Clarence here is somehow or another being tied in with Christ, but he's not Christ. They're not trying to make him Christ. They make him similar to Christ, and he's imitating Christ and he's doing fake miracles, so on and so forth. So now he gets in trouble with the Romans. At what point do Christians stop putting up with this is my question. At what point do we say, hey, this is not cool? Because there's no way in the world this would be going on about Muhammad. There's no way in the world this would happen with, again, like Buddha. They wouldn't be doing Buddha like this. So why is it that Christ gets treated like this? Of course, this is supposed to be Mary Magdalene. I'm sorry. Mary, the mother of Jesus. Please forgive me. At what point do we say, okay, enough? At what point do we say we've had enough of you mocking the faith in order for laughs and giggles or other nefarious purposes? Of course, Lou Shakune from Seek Things Above TV did an outstanding review of this, and he drew out a lot of the producers, like Jay-Z is a part of a part of this project. Is that happenstance that they're mocking Christ with Jay-Z as part of the project? Is that happenstance at all, or is that's just a coincidence? Okay, got it. And I do find it just intriguing, and it's the end of the article. I'm not going to worry about reading it. I'm going to drop the link in the description because I really did think it was going to show up a little bit. And it's user error. It's not anybody else's fault. It's Jason's, because Jason got a new computer and doesn't know how to use it. So I just dropped the link down there. If you want to check out the Vanity Fair article, I think it's definitely interesting and something worth checking out. But at what point do Christians say we've had enough of you mocking the Christian faith and say, you know what, we don't want, this is not going to happen anymore? At what point? Now, we already know how this is going to get played out. Christians are going to say they don't want to watch this movie, and they're going to immediately yell and say, well, it's because it's a black movie, because it depicts black characters, or it's been blackwashed, and that's why the only people that don't like it are the people of the less melanated flavor. That's what's going to end up being that's going to be the game. That's how they're going to play it, and it's such like that. And don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Thank you so much, Eladio. Thank you. The trailer already has 4,500 upvotes and 12,000 downvotes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what ratioed means, this is being ratioed. When you have almost 3 times as many downvotes as you have upvotes, that is called being ratioed. And this movie should be ratioed. But there has to be a point where we as Christians say, you know what, we've had enough of this. We're not going to participate in this anymore. And no longer support this type of mockery. Because again, there's no way in the world, there is absolutely no way in the world that a movie mocking Muhammad would have made it this far. But see, we've allowed this for years upon years upon years. So we as Christians do bear the brunt of this because we've allowed it for so long. But at some point, you're gonna have to just say, okay, time out. It's over. It's enough of this. At some point, we're gonna have to say, we're done, no more, and stop supporting this type of foolishness that mocks our Lord. Now, if you want to mock Michael Jordan, mock away. If you want to mock Enron, or you want to mock even the president, knock yourself unconscious. Have at it. But at some point, we're going to have to say, yeah, this one is off limits. But we don't support the mockery of our Lord. Now, I will say this, from the trailer, they don't show Jesus's face. And I want to say, hey, you know what? That's kind of interesting. So are they trying to keep it salient? Now, granted, as a black man, you can see his skin of his hands and so forth, but they don't show his face in the trailer. I don't know if they do in the movie. That's neither here, neither there. However, they did try to not do that, which I think we can say is like they're trying not to violate the second commandment, but there's so many other things that they do, even in the trailer, that, for mocking Christ's miracles of healing a blind man, walking on water. They mock it quite a bit. So it's not there. Yeah, sure. You didn't break the second commandment by showing Jesus or depicting him. Okay, got you. You done did everything else though. So don't get beside yourself. Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back, man. So I just think it's interesting. I do hope and pray that we as Christians will begin to stop supporting stuff like this just in the name of entertainment. Just because we want to be entertained, we are willing to be mocked and ridiculed for said entertainment. That's not acceptable. And at some point, we should say enough is enough. I really believe that many people have said enough is enough in several other instances, in many other ways. Ask Bud Light, ask Disney, ask all these other places that went woke and went broke, okay? Why don't we say, hey, you know what? This is a lap too far, and we're not going to put up with it. We're not going to support it. I don't know if it is Sony. I think it is a Sony picture. You know what, Sony? Kick rocks. We don't need you. Because there is a misnomer that many in the corporate entity kind of miss. We really don't need you. And I think if we as Christians realize that and say, you know what? I don't really need this product. I don't need this. They need me. And they need my family, and they need my church community and others to buy into their product. We need to realize we don't need that. We don't. And because we don't need it, we can give them the old heave ho. We don't have to subscribe to that. We don't have to sit there and put up with the foolishness that comes across as entertainment, all because why? Because we're willing to be entertained. We want to be entertained. We don't have to do that. There's no reason that we should. And I pray that my brothers and sisters, Mary says this. Hope I got it. We're afraid to bring attention to it if we push back. That's fair. And I'm willing to look. I don't have all the solutions, but if you follow me, you know that I did a deep dive. I had a lot of fun dunking on Disney. Okay. And I said, all you got to do is just stop going. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You don't have to turn it into protesting outside and carrying signs and picketing, because most of us, that's not what we're about anyway. I'm not about it. Okay. However, we can just say, you know what? I just choose not to support that. I'm no longer going to support that streaming service because it doesn't represent my values. That's all you have to do. Sure, getting 50 other people or 100,000 other people to do likewise, hey, that's a big deal too. But you could just, you know what? I choose not to do it. If somebody asks, no, I just don't watch Netflix. I just don't watch it. That's all you gotta do. Why don't you watch Netflix? I don't watch Netflix because, and explain it. Clear and salient. You don't have to be foaming at the mouth. You don't have to be a rabid, crazy person. Just say, no, they don't represent Christ well. They make a mockery of my Lord. He who bled and died that I might live, they're mocking him. Nah, I'm not going to participate in that. I'm going to keep my little $9.95 or whatever it is now. I'm going to keep my little money to myself. Sure, you're not making a big splash. Okay, fine. No problem. That $9 can go very far in my household, so kick rocks. Okay? But I think we can, first of all, I think we're really minimizing the impact that we have. If you just told your Sunday school, like, hey, I'm going to stop doing this. I really felt convicted of supporting these things that make a mockery of our Lord. It's just, I chose not to. And because of that, I'm done with it. There you go. Withhold your little dollar. I mean, again, it's not the amount. And that's the thing I think many people don't realize. It's kind of like when you give a couple bucks to a political campaign. They know that those little couple dollars are not going to do anything. But it's the support and the enthusiasm that you bring to it because you did give a couple dollars. Or if you give a couple bucks, if you give your children money to put in the offering plate, okay, fine. You gave them $1. You gave them a couple quarters, change at the bottom of your purse. It's not really a lot, but it's the encouragement that they get to know that they're a participant in what the church is doing. And then when they hear the monthly deacon report that the church was able to help this at-risk pregnancy or support these senior citizens and helping them with some maintenance around their home, those kids now know that they were a part of supporting and in some way or another being a blessing to those other people. Yeah, they only gave 50 cents. That's irrelevant. They gave something. And I would dare to say it's the exact same thing in this regard. Sure, I don't know how much movie tickets are now. Sure, I don't think many people are going to miss my little $18 movie ticket. But I bet you Disney sure wish they had my $18 now. Ask Disney Marvel, ask Disney Star Wars. They sure wish more people would come and watch their movies. I'm not making a big fuss out of it. I don't go around telling people that I'm protesting Disney. I'm protesting Marvel. Nope, I just don't go. I don't watch it. If I come across it and maybe I watch a couple clips on a YouTube video or whatever like that, okay, fine. But they're not going to get a dime from me. They're not going to get a dime from Jason. I try my best not to get any dimes to him at all, as best I can. But I think if we tried that and just did that, and this movie, I think, is going to be a great testament when it fails. When this mockery fails, they're going to hide behind the racism. They're going to hide behind only people that didn't want to go see it are racist, whatever. It's just a trope. Don't let the name calling bother you. Let the fact that you remain faithful to Christ. Because again, if they did this movie for a 6th century goat herder, if they did that, then call me. Let me know when they do that. Let me know when they do it for a 6th century goat herder. Okay? Then we can talk. They're not going to do it, but they will do it for Christ. And that's not acceptable. So hopefully you all understand and you can get behind it. I mean, check it out. Check out the trailer and you decide for yourself. I think if you see the trailer, I think a lot of your questions will be answered. A lot of them. And I do hate that and I think that's part of why they probably were copywriting the trailer. And if I can find a way to do it, then I will. I'll come back on. If I find a way or somebody says that you can't watch, you can do it, you can't play it, I'll come right on back and do it. But yeah, I think that would be key for us as Christians to stop allowing the culture to negatively and, dare I say, even blasphemously impact the church. So I thank y'all so much. There are tons of comments in here. I apologize. And I apologize if I did not comment on all of them. I'm going to try to come back through here. I mean, that's a great question. Jay-Z isn't even a Christian. Why would he be asked to participate? Better question, why would he want to participate? I wouldn't want to participate in a movie about Muhammad. So why would Jay-Z want to participate in a movie about Christ? Or some flavor of Christ or something? I don't know. It's super confusing, but it's like an ancillary story going alongside the Gospels. So again, so it's extra biblical, of course. But yeah, like, why would you even want to be a part of that, Jay-Z? Why? I did see something. All right, I'm just looking through here. All right, so this is a final rant. Thank you, Eladio. Final rant about this film. Even the Instagram account is receiving bad comments. When will they learn to not mock God and the woke nonsense? All right, so I was thinking about that today. And this is actually not on my notes. And that's a great question. Great question right here. Satan already knows it's a wrap. He's lost. There is no victory. There is no path to victory for Satan. He's well aware of that. But he'll do anything and everything to blind those who should be hearing the gospel, who should be surrendering to Christ and repenting of their sins and turning to him. He'll do everything possible to get them to just one more day stay off mission. One more day stay off the target, because Christ is the target. The gospel is the mission. But he'll do anything possible to keep them from that, because he wants to take as many to hell with him as possible. That's it. So I'm not surprised that Disney or Sony or anybody, I'm not surprised by any of them, are willingly participating in the chicanery and mockery of God. I'm not surprised one bit, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it is a matter of whether or not we made much of Christ, and whether or not we made his name famous, or whether or not we made our names famous, or whether or not we did what we wanted to do rather than, or what the culture wanted us to do, rather than what our Savior, our Christ, told us to do. And speaking of that, that was a great segue, because I want to talk about the culture. All right, we're going to talk about the culture. Hopefully I got this right. I did. Praise him. All right, eventually I'm going to have this thing really tight. Down in the chat, I dropped the link to Eric Smith, Servant of Jesus Christ, his YouTube channel. On yesterday, and I'll just pull this in just to show for a second. On yesterday, Brother Eric did a wonderful deep dive into the whole whoop-to-do about Lecrae and whether or not you can be ratchet and righteous, whether or not you can quote Cardi B and Corinthians, whether or not you can, quote Kindred and Acts or something. I don't know. It was a really dumb statement by Lecrae. And Lecrae's been catching a lot of flack from sound biblical teachers pretty much all week that this has been going on. But I really commit to you, Eric Smith's, especially if you're a page turner, if you really like going through deep Bible studies, Eric did an excellent job. And other people did as well, addressing Lecrae and such like that. But I want to just point out a couple of things that Eric pointed out that I really think we should consider and think about as we are Christians being bombarded by the culture. We're being bombarded from every side, buffeted on every side to capitulate and to give in and to surrender to the culture all the time. all the time. And there's lots of times, I'm sure, if you're like me, it's like, look, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do. Okay, fine. Maybe I need to go start quoting somebody else, whatever. Now, I think Lecrae's whole issue was that he was promoting that Jesus was ratchet. I don't know what Jesus he's talking about. I have no idea what Jesus he's talking about. Jesus was ratchet. I have no idea what that meant. And it was dumb. He was just trying to be culturally relevant because, again, now Eric is much kinder than Jason. And that's why Eric is the big dog. Because I'm just going to say it like this. Lecrae has capitulated so much and he's compromised so much. He don't know up from down or left from right. He doesn't. He doesn't understand. At this point now, Lecrae doesn't even understand that there is something unique and special about Christ. He literally is putting Christ on the same level as Clarence, from the description we did earlier, the trailer we looked at earlier. He doesn't understand. That's not our fault, Lecrae. That's yours. This is the same Lecrae who was talking about, not going home, not going to church for a long time. I mean, he could take communion. I want to say he said some crackers and apple juice. I mean, everything is a compromise. And at no time do you ever see him demanding that the culture compromise. And I think it's really interesting because though I think his whole righteous versus ratchet or righteous and ratchet was to sell t-shirts, because he had a t-shirt line come out, drop this week as well. Of course, what do you think was on there? Righteous and ratchet. I quote Cardi B or whatever. It was something, it was really dumb. Let me pull it up because I think I can do that. So I want you to check out Eric's video. Please let him know that Dear Woke Christian sent you. But I think you'll benefit from that. I think that Lecrae and so many other people have discussed this. It's been addressed ad nauseum. But I think one of the things that we could look at is the fact that his path of trajectory, if you ask like K-Dub, Chris Williams from All Things Theology, has done a great deep dive into Lecrae and his how he presents himself. One of the things that really, okay, yeah, here it is. All right, so all right, let's get Jason out of the way. Get out the way. All right, of course. All right. Of course. He had a clothing line drop this week. And of course, I can quote Kendrick and Corinthians. If you're not familiar, Kendrick Lamar is an unrepentant blasphemer who literally wears a diamond-crusted crown of thorns on his head that's worth some excess of like $1 million. He wears that around on his head. But he can quote this guy. So he's really proud of the fact that he can quote Corinthians and Kendrick Lamar, righteous and ratchet. That's what he can promote, being righteous and ratchet. And y'all know how much I like hoodies too, man. Like, I want to buy one of these ever. Wouldn't wear it if he sent it to me. This is interesting. He still uses the unashamed tagline. Okay. Are you really unashamed? Really? What does that mean? What does it mean to be unashamed? Well, what are you unashamed of? Why should somebody be ashamed? What should one be ashamed of then, Mr. Lecrae? What is it? So we see this. I do want to check out, again, Eric Smith. Check out All Things Theology. He's done a great project looking at Lecrae over time. So like I think Chris literally looked at his first album to his most recent album, which was late last year, I think is when he finished that video. So of course, there's a lot of background that you can dig into and kind of see like this gentleman has had some compromise and has been compromised for quite some time. It's not a new phenomenon. It's not a one-off scenario. It's something that's been going on for a long time. And we as Christians should be aware. We as Christians should be cognizant of that and treat it like it's important, because it really is important. Not just because we want to be busybodies, or not just because we want to be in people's lives, if you will, but rather because we know that it's important that if we get Christ wrong, we get the gospel wrong, and then salvation is not available to us. It's really that easy. It's rough to say, and I know people don't like it, but when we play around with that, I mean, it's just something simple like that. Play with other things. Like, why not just play? We can play basketball. You can play pinochle. You can play with so many other things. Why play with Christ? Why does he have to be on the same level as anything else that we play games with? Why is that? And I think that's really on us as Christians to not allow that to be the case whatsoever. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Oh man, so many comments. I'm so sorry, y'all. So we're talking about, I don't know why people watch The Chosen either, Mark. I don't know why. I didn't see anything that in The Chosen that made me say, oh, I gotta watch that. And there's a lot of people, they gotta watch it. Oh, I missed that. I think I mentioned this before, that I decided never to watch The Chosen because I saw a negative fruit of my parents watching shows on the Living Faith Network about Moses and Joshua. There you go. I mean, the fruit of it is a whole mess, but Eladio says, I don't know much about Lecrae, but he needs to realize that a little leaven leavens the whole lump. And there's instances where I think people honestly would disagree with that, even though our Lord actually said it. I think we can really see that people would disagree with that and say, no, a little leaven doesn't level the whole lump, but it really does. And Christ said that it does. All right, let me see what else we got here. My good people, my good people. I would present to you, you know what, Grant, I'm going to get I have a great Christian hip hop playlist on Spotify. And I would tell you right now, you can listen to that all day. I've been listening to it for years. Every now and then I update something or add a new song to it, but it is fantastic. And if I could get Spotify to open up, I would share it with you. And for some reason, it don't want to open up. Shoot me an email, Grant. dearwokec@gmail.com. Shoot me that email and I'll get it to you. I have no idea why Spotify's not opening up. All right, let's try this way. Oh, here we go. Got it. All right. So let me get you this playlist. I feel like it is. I've been curating it for a long time too. So I feel good about this one. Once this opens up. It is called the Reformed Christian Rap Playlist. And I don't know why. My library. There we go. Open this up. Let's go. Got me over here talking to myself, people. Let's go. It is more likely just user error. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Where is the Reformed Christian Rap Playlist? You could almost guarantee anything by Timothy Brindle is going to be great listening to. All right, let's get you this over there, my friend. There we go. Copy that link. Drop that link. Let's go. All right, Grant, there you go right there. I think that'll get you going. At least for what's going on, Lou? In the building. What's happening, Lou? Lou Chikuni in the building. Thank you so much for stopping by today, man. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Got that done. Thank you so very much. Now, speaking of compromise, we are going to take our time on this one here. We're going to talk about what happens when we abandon. So we've seen Lecrae. We've seen the issue with the Book of Clarence. And I think we all could agree that part of the problem, if not the cornerstone problem, is the scriptures are not sufficient. The scriptures, what the scriptures give us about Christ is not sufficient. So we got to come up with the Book of Clarence. The scriptures are not sufficient. So we got to say that Jesus was ratchet. So the scriptures are not sufficient. And what ends up happening if we continue down this road is later on the scriptures lie. So we're going to look at Corey today, Corey Minor, and this is his second channel, the Smart Christian Life channel. And we are going to make that bigger. All right. Corey looked at a pastor, and you see the title here. Is this pastor promoting adultery? I want you to listen to this. Corey, it's only like 5 minutes long. He did an excellent job summarizing this gentleman's case. And I would just love to hear your thoughts on it and what you think. So let's, all right, let's see what we get. Let's go. I won't be speed rapping. Let's go. And can you also let me know that you hear this?
This next clip isn't very long, but it is very wrong. This pastor, his name is Pastor Andy Thompson. I think he's in North Carolina, pastor of World Overcomers Church, something like that. I'm not sure. He does advocate for women being pastors, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure if that's his mother, but I know his wife is also a pastor. And so we already know that doctrinally they're not going to be strong. But you would think, though, even still, you would not begin to advocate something that goes contrary to the scriptures. And being faithful, or as they would say, monogamous, that's biblical. Not being faithful, not being monogamous is unbiblical. There's a term for that. It's called adultery.
Sexual exclusivity is one of the ways that we judge the character of a guy today.
Now, before we get going, though, also, he's also listed as an international faith leader. I didn't know he was. I never heard of him before, but he may be. That doesn't mean anything. But he's also called a life coach on his website, as well as a relationships expert. So take that for what it's worth.
We are approaching a time in which, when it comes to this, women are becoming more powerless. I don't know if sexual exclusivity is going to be something that they will be able to continue to demand in.
Well, it doesn't really matter if they're going to continue to demand it. That's not the issue. We don't really concern ourselves with what the value system of the world is, because as a pastor, you are still going to push back against that and teach what God says, what God's design is, right?
Monogamy. We're asking people to go from 40 flavors of milkshake to one.
Okay, first of all, we're not asking people to go from anything. We're not asking.
Yeah,
first of all,
jump in on this,
who
Corey.
do you know that's going from 40 flavors? And if so,
This is a pastor. Like, he literally used the 40 flavors to one scenario as if that's untenable, as unimaginable, unobtainable to tell somebody that they need to be with one person forever, that they mate with that man, they mate with that woman, and that's their partner till death do them part. That's untenable. My wife and I were talking about it today. We've been married for 21 years, going on 22 next year. What? It's not untenable? What are you talking about? But this guy, we gotta let him finish, because Corey does a great job.
why isn't it switched? Why aren't you saying we're asking people to go from 1 to 40. No, you're assuming that 40 is kind of the standard. So being out there, being involved, what do they call the high body count? That's okay. And now we're saying to go from that to 1. Well, first of all, even if that's the case, even how he framed it is the right way to go about framing it. So we're asking people to go from 40 to 1, 50 to 1, 10 to 1, 5 to 1. It's really not us as asking, it's God demanding.
Demanding.
But yeah, and isn't that what we're supposed to do? Isn't that what we're supposed to demand, to call people into a life of holiness? Could be my Bible. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just kind of thought that's what the Bible said.
But the minute you commit to this relationship, you can only have one flavor from now on. If we're going to redefine what male roles are, and
because that's what God said, though. You can only have one flavor. Just think about it. Like, what is marriage to this man? Like, I would love to know what this pastor thinks marriage actually is. What does he think it is?
redefine what female roles are, then we may have to be prepared to redefine what the acceptable behavior is within exclusive relationships.
Okay, now I'm not sure if he's trying to go somewhere, if something's happening or whatever. If, sometimes people try to soften up a blow that's going to happen. I'm not saying that. I don't know, but why would you be saying this? Now, number one, who's trying to redefine relationships, male roles, female roles? No one's trying to redefine anything. God has already defined those roles. And so when you come back and you say, if we're going to redefine it, no, we're not going to redefine anything. As a matter of fact, we're going to hold fast to what God has said. And God is pretty clear on this. God has said that there is only in the one in marriage, because that's what we ought to be talking about. If there's marriage and the person that goes outside of that, that person is committing a sin. Yeah. Remember, Jesus has said that if you even look at a woman.
So before Corey gets into here, because I think it seems like looking at the chat, pretty much all agrees that this guy is out of pocket. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what Corey is doing. All right. I think we can all agree to that. Like, what would this guy actually say about what Christ said about adultery and sexual sin and marriage covenant? Like, what would he say about that? All right, let's go.
With lust, you've already committed adultery. And the reason why he says you've already committed adultery is because adultery is a sin. Again, look at the Bible. For this, you shall not commit adultery. Also, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet. Right. And so if you are committing adultery, that's wrong. And even looking at someone else. And so even if you're in a monogamous relationship, if you're in a relationship where it's you and one person, like it ought to be, preferably a married person. That is, now, obviously, if you're dating, same thing, but still. If you began to look at someone else with lust, it's the same as committing adultery. According to who? Not according to me. Right. Not according to society as they want to define roles, but according to Jesus. And so it's just amazing that we got this pastor who is, and he's a pastor. I'm not sure how big the church is. It looks like a decent sized church, and maybe it's a growing church. I assume that with this sort of philosophy that he has, it's going to keep growing. I mean, because now all bets are off. Whatever God has defined, it doesn't matter. We're going to kind of redefine things. This is how it is. And let's let people be comfortable in the way that they want to live unto the world, and then occasionally unto God. This is why you got to be careful with who you listen to, the sort of pastors. If they're not going to hold tight and close to the word of God, well, they're not a pastor. That is someone who's an agent of Satan. Now, maybe he doesn't feel that way, but if you start chipping away at little small parts of the Bible, and there are no small parts, but you get what I'm saying. If you're going to start chipping away a little bit here, a little bit there, next thing you know, it's all about whatever little bit of pieces that you want to take for yourself, like as though it's some sort of buffet. I'll get a little bit here, a little bit there. I don't like this. I don't like that. This is calling me to live holy. This is calling me to not do this.
So just think about it. Like when we looked at the Book of Clarence, notice instead of them holding to say, hey, you're mocking Christ, we've been entertained by this type of mockery for decades. And now they're just wilding out. Same thing with Lecrae. Instead of holding the line and say, you're mocking Christ, you're mocking the Christian faith. We've allowed him to get this far afield. And somebody even mentioned it, like that movie looks like something Lecrae would support. Absolutely. No question about it. No question whatsoever. All right, let's finish up, Corey. Actually, you got like 12 seconds left.
Not do that. That's not the way this works. And so, again, we've got another example of a pastor who should not be a pastor, who should not be teaching. And if he's a relationship expert, not even a good relationship expert.
Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it, man. Great job. All right. So that was it, man. Hopefully you all got something good out of that. Go check out Corey's channel. Let him know the Dear Woke Christian and Dear Woke Christian podcast sent you. I do appreciate you. All right. We're going to get into this dusty comment because it's super dusty. Let me make sure it's shared because it's just dusty. And again, I think it's funny. Sometimes people have their own, they just want to have an argument about something. And I know you all, especially if you're content creators, you've seen this where that's not what we're arguing about. Like you know good and well, that's not what I was arguing about. Nobody was arguing for what it is that you're saying. It's almost like you just want to get this off your chest. You just want to say this. And it had nothing to do with my point that I was making, but rather you just want to say something and get it off your chest. So a couple weeks ago, I did that video. It might have been like a month ago. Now I think about it. Did the video on Vivek Ramaswamy, when he went to Chicago and got a haircut and was taking questions for the community in the barbershop. That's kind of interesting. Thought it was really good. That was a great way to approach the situation and to get out there and hear the voices of people that don't necessarily agree with you. I think that's a great political strategy. Whether he wins, whether he gets nominated is irrelevant. Nobody can say that he did not come out there and blaze a new trail, if you will, and get out there and listen to and talk with and engage with people who don't agree with him. I think that's a fantastic way to be. That's what I try to do here at Dear Woke Christian, as well as Dear Woke Christian podcast. So, all right. Okay, I see some comments right here. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. I think we're good to go. So, on that Vivek video, some reason or another, it's gotten like a resurgence. So there's like tons of comments coming in about it. And of course, when you talk about politics, you get lots of pushback from different sides of the aisle. So this gentleman right here decided he wanted to talk about, as I said before, his own pet project. But before we do that, Jason, we got to do it in honor of him.
World Wide Web, the nonsensical and illogical comments of the underworld are hunted by the detectives of the Dusty Comments email crime unit. These are their stories.
Now, this isn't technically an email crime, but I haven't been able to use my email crime unit video yet. So there we go. That's how I do it. It's my show, and I'll do it like I want to do it. All right. So this gentleman, again, I just said, hey, I like the way Vivek handled it. Again, I didn't know a whole lot about him. I think this is the one where I was really mispronouncing his name really bad and such like that. Good gracious, they still coming about that. Even though in the next video I corrected it, it's irrelevant. However, so this gentleman came out and let's just go through this comment because it's dusty and he has to get that dusty business. So let's go. So you support the Republicans who trying to take away our history, out school, really explain that to me so I can understand where you coming from, because I definitely don't understand how any other black can do that, because these people don't support you. Okay. And I said, and I do my best to try to be as respectful as possible. And I said, thank you for your comment. What part of our history is being taken away? And I'm just going to use the royal we and our. He's talking about the highly melanated. So what part of the history is being taken away? He continues. Come on, bro. I'm sure you watching what going on in Florida and Texas, where they are whitewashing Black history, telling the kids that Black people benefited from being slaves. Okay. All right. I'm going to just keep going. Let me ask you a question. Are the descendants of slavery better off in the United States today than anywhere else on the planet? So in your mind, and he continues, so in your mind, it doesn't matter because we're better off in the United States. It's okay that we're treated like second-class citizens. In your mind, it's all right that the white keep us down by the neighborhood we live in. It's okay they have better chance because education and wage disparities across these United States. It's okay that our young men's are being killed just because they're driving and are black. It's okay that police look at us different because our color. It's okay that some our own black bros hate us because they're black. This nothing new. Even some slaves hate us because they're slaves. You hate your own people because you not white. Why else do you feel like you do? One thing I do know, white folks care nothing about you except that you belittle your own kind in favor of them. And that's sometimes something you have to live with. One thing I was taught by my parents: speak the truth as I see it and hate no man, including you. God bless and stay safe. It's funny when you read these comments, when you read it to yourself, you give it a lot of grace because this thing made so much more sense when I read it to myself than when I read it out loud. Amazing. And I just said, you didn't answer my question. And so he continues, I answered you, but you didn't understand or don't accept what I said. Bro, that not the point, but here a question for you. How did turn on your own people? Clarence Thomas got paid. What the did white do for you? Why do you assume that I've turned on my own people? Because I don't think that dwelling on the past is a viable plan for moving forward. Instead of throwing unfounded accusations, either address the topic at hand or not. Fake clutching pearls is off-putting and really not worth your time. I can give myself a thumbs up for that. All right. So that is a Dusty comment. I didn't realize I give myself a thumbs up and give him a thumbs down. Yeah, I do give him thumbs down. No, I do. I learned that from somebody. Like, I ain't giving you a thumbs up for that. Give myself a thumbs up. All right. So this is what we have to deal with. Because, and mind you, all I was saying was I like the way Vivek handled the situation, and he as a man of Indian descent came to a neighborhood that was predominantly black, willing to sit down in a barber chair to talk with the community and such like that. Win, lose, or draw, like him or not, you got to give him credit for that. You got to, because he's been doing it and has been doing pretty well. I mean, I think he's going to drive a lot of people to consider and think, because he's actually getting out there and mixing it up, and they can say, I actually met him and he has a different perspective than what I thought, or he's different than what I believe, so on and so forth. It's going to be hard for his political enemies and ideological foes to paint him as some kind of racist and so all this kind of stuff. Like, the dude literally was right there in Chicago, and he's done this in other places as well. He literally came right there and met with people who disagree with him ideologically and listened to them. I'm sorry, it's gonna be hard for the left to pull that off, but I'm sorry. I'm reading Q's comment. Lord have mercy. These people are they're insufferable. They're insufferable. I don't think we're supposed to put up with these people. I don't think they're supposed to be real. They're NPCs, as my daughters say. They're not real. You're not real. You're not a real person. So that was my Dusty comment today. I didn't have multiple Dusty comments, but I'm sure I'm going to have more after this one. I'm absolutely certain of it. However, I do want to, as we get ready to round these bases, I do want to encourage you all to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee. I will be sitting down with Charles Simpson. We're going to be doing a class on 7 things to do before you get deplatformed off of YouTube or social media. So what we're going to be doing in the back end of me myself getting demonetized and deplatformed is giving content creators a step-by-step on what they should be doing right now, even though you don't even believe that you could be deplatformed, even though you don't believe that you could get kicked off of YouTube or whatnot like that. Okay, I'm not gonna leave Eric. I'm gonna stay around Eric. I'm sorry, man. I ain't gonna leave you, brother. I'm not leaving you yet, brother. But we'll hang around. We'll just hang around. But before you do get, before one does get kicked off of YouTube, if you wake up tomorrow and you got kicked off of YouTube, you'll wish you have done some of these things. A lot of these things are just free. They're just being proactive and not, and treating your social media, especially if you're a content creator, treating it like a little miniature business, like a little business that I need to take care of. I need to nurture. I need to water. I need to prune. I need to put in a bigger pot, so on and so forth. Just treat it like a business. Treat it like a little plant that you would be taking care of and you're trying to grow. And that being the case, me and Charles are going to be going through 7 things that you can do before you get deplatformed. So that'll be coming up real soon. So follow me on Buy Me a Coffee. That's where we'll be doing that. And let's look at some of these questions here. I have not heard this, Kiana. Kiana said right here, did y'all see Alton's video, and that's Alton Johnson's video, about how the anti-capitalism class at Princeton is saying that being Black should be a disability because, like I've always said, the real racists are people on the left. So they're actually saying that we are physically deficient, which if you go back and look at the original definition of racism, the belief that a class is better because of physicalities or genetics. That is it. This is it right here. Because of systemic racism. We about to get checks, y'all. Whatever. They're just saying dumb stuff because they are themselves the true racists. Oh, tonight's beverage of choice tonight is water. I've been working on drinking more water. Mary, the bad thing is I don't think there's a floor to the insanity. I don't think there is. I'm not going to say I've heard it all, because I can't say that in good faith that I've heard it all, because who knows where they're going to be tomorrow. Grant says, can I identify as Black and collect a check for having the mental disability of not knowing what race I am? I don't see any problem with it. I think that's probably the logic that they use. It is insulting, Eric. That's why I don't play the game. Like, I'm not participating in this. If you want to believe that, then you just knock yourself unconscious. Have a grand old time. Just enjoy yourself. I'm not going to participate in it. Nope. I'm not participating. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what disability you think there is. You just, okay, knock yourself out, man. Make that work. Work it out. I'm not participating. And I think that's what most of us should do. Just say, no, I'm not going to participate in this craziness. Just stop it. Just stop it. But we'd have to actually be willing to be ostracized, to be looked at, to stand out, to be the sore thumb and say, no, I'm not going to participate anymore. Stop it. Just stop it. That's really it. And until we're willing to do that, I think that's going to continue to happen. And people are going to say, well, I got to go along to get along. But why? Why? Is there a good reason why I should participate in foolishness? Is there a good reason why I should participate in the charade? Is there a reason? I don't know. Tell me why I should participate in the insanity that you call woke ideology. Why? In the name of being racially whatever, I don't even know what you're trying to do. To say that black people have a disability, that's crazy. That is so insulting. Yeah, y'all work that out yourselves. You worked it out. I am not going to participate. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take a drink. And I do want to thank you all so much. Just cleaning through. I want to thank you all so much for your encouragement. Podium Studios is doing quite well. We're in the red, but we're getting there. We are getting to where we want to be, which is being able to sustain and take care of several clients throughout the week, getting their projects recorded and edited and back to them within a reasonable amount of time. It's been fun. There are a lot of challenges we've come up to and just a lot of things administrative and such like that. But overall, it's been really good. We've had a great time, and I'm looking forward to giving you a better report even sooner. Whatever, Jason. I am going to use all of my intersections and get back the money the government stole from me. Okay. And you know what? I ain't mad at you. LaTanya came in. Thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by, LaTanya. My pastor concluded his summer series on the Great Commission. I love it. I love it. So, but I want to thank y'all again for your encouragement. Thank you for your support, for your prayers, for what we've been doing here at Podium Studio. It's been a blast. I've met some great people. I'm looking forward to some fun interviews for our own podcast. If you're not familiar, I do have a podcast on Podium Studios YouTube channel, Podium Studios on YouTube. Let me grab that link real quick as well, because I should have had it. Oh, it's right here. If you want to follow us on YouTube, I appreciate it. Appreciate you checking us out. Give us a little bit of support as well. But I'm looking forward to some fun interviews and some great videos that we have planned. We have our ribbon cutting this Thursday. I'm going to try to do it live, but we'll see if it's going to happen. But what we are certainly going to do is let you all know that we'll be doing it. It's going to be a huge meet and greet. Hopefully a lot of people will be coming. Lots of people get a chance to see what's going on, what's all the buzz about, and hopefully want to be a part of it. All right, I saw a comment here. Can you still say that you're in the black and out of the red? I'm going to. I know I'm not participating in the game. I will not participate. So there you go. So that's my resistance. I'm not protesting. I'm not running around with signs. I'm not going out deliberately to cause havoc. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to use words like they were supposed to be used. I'm not going to play the ignorant word games that these people are doing. Miss me with that. Goodbye. Goodbye. And I know that dusty person in my comment section going to come back and say something else dusty. Well, you know what? Keep being dusty, my friend. Learn how to use punctuation marks. Punctuation marks are key. Put that joint in Chat GPT, man. He could type that foolishness in there. Chat GPT will add all the punctuation and make it look stellar. And he can look educated. Like, there's an app for that, my man. Check it out. Use it. That was mean. That was really mean. I'm sorry, y'all. Please forgive me for that. All right, what I got here? All right, so now we're talking about microaggressions and master bedroom. I love y'all so much. They love changing definitions. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric, let me get your comment. The left are trying to change the very language people speak, telling you what you can and cannot say, and then jumps in here, and changing definitions. Amen. Eladio says this: the microaggression nonsense reminds me of when Macy's did not want to use FOB due to possibly meaning fresh off the boat. Their programs still use the FOB term. What's FOB? What's FOB stand for, Eladio? I've never heard that before. Fresh off the boat. Man, people come up with that. They just want to be offended. That's the thing. Like, people choose to be offended by a word. I don't choose to be offended by it. That's fine. Freight on board. Really? Freight on board. Or family of business. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. But guess what? I can choose to see the word FOB, and I can choose to believe that it means fresh off the boat. But guess what? I make the choice to be offended by it. Or I can see it and say, okay, and keep it moving. I can KIM that thing. Or I can be offended. I just keep it moving. Like, come on. Like, see, that's why you can't be successful, because you just want to be a victim. Really? Family of business is the term they use for vendor department areas. Okay. Okay. I let me tell you who didn't know that. Mr. Dear Woke Christian. I didn't know that. Okay. Now I learned something new. But what can you do? Just don't be offended. You don't have to be offended. But again, we are in the offense Olympics and the microaggression, the intersectionality Olympics. And as many times, as many ways as you can be offended, you will try to use that. Just stop. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. There's no mandate that you have to behave like that. You can literally say, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's really that easy. It's not hard at all. I choose not to. I don't have to be offended. I don't have to act ridiculous like I've never heard the N word used before. I choose not to use it. And even when I do, I get very, very, very convicted about doing it. But guess what? I'm not going to act like I've never heard it before. I'm not going to clutch my pearls and get all in a tizzy when somebody uses a word. I don't know how we went from sticks and stones may break my bones to words of violence. I don't know how we got there. I have no idea. If anybody can tell me how we got here, show me on a map how we got from sticks and stones may break my bones to words are violence or silence is violence. If you could tell me how we got there, I would love to know, so we can get a round trip. We can get that one-way ticket back to Normalville, because I have no idea what this is. Why are y'all talking about snow? Oh my goodness. Snow where? Oh my gosh. Where do you live? Alaska? Oh my word. That made me woozy. I'm gonna pass out. Like, oh my gosh. All right. Some people were asking me in the comment section of a video about Waterloo. Why are they asking me about Waterloo? And I'm just telling them that Waterloo tastes like depression water. Like water that does not know its full potential. There we go. All right, what we got here? Ben, I believe it, but man, I was publicly educated. I have no idea how they got that far though, man. Read Eric's comment. Did I read it? Yo, British Columbia, y'all gonna get snow already? Wow, I'm in Georgia. My man, we might, if we see snow, it'll be in like February. Late January, February-ish. We call it Febu ugly. Wow, that is serious. Bruh, if you get snow in, what's that, September? That is crazy. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. You're that far up north. Wow. Now you got me looking. Now you got me over interested. Like, how far is British Columbia? Oh my gosh. Dude, you're at the top of the world, man. If I wanted to get there, first of all, man. Wow. Yeah, that's serious. That is, it looks pretty though. I'm gonna tell you right now. Wow. Yeah. I, I'm going to give it to you. It looks pretty. I will give you that. No question about it. The pictures that I just pulled up, yep, that's a picturesque place. I will only be there when it's picturesque like this, though, when it's green. I can't mess with you when it's snow. That snow looks illegal. That looks like some crazy stuff. And hours, no, man. I'm good, dog. I'm good. I'm good, man. We good, man. We good. We're just gonna, you know what? We're gonna pray for you. I'm gonna think warm thoughts about you, Gary McLean. I'm just gonna think warm thoughts about you, brother. Right here from Georgia. All right, I just got it. I'm a glutton for abuse. Now I want to see how long does it take to get there. I have no idea why I'm trying to figure this out. I have no idea why. Oh my gosh. It's like, are you sure you want to drive? Like that's how Google Maps like, are you sure you want to drive here? Yo, it's gonna take 2 days to get there. Never mind. My man. 2 days. 23 hours. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We're gonna go ahead and just wow, that is amazing. Well, I appreciate you what you call it, hanging out with us tonight, man. All right, let me do real quick. It said it can't even calculate it. It's so far away. It said, sir, you don't really want to go there. We're not going to even worry about calculating it for you. I will drive down to Georgia and enjoy some warmth. Hey, we stay warm. I mean, we stay warm. I hate it. There's sometimes I'm like, okay, I really wish it was cool because, you know, it matches with the seasons and such like that. When we go to homecoming and such like that, it shouldn't be 90, 85 degrees at homecoming. It shouldn't be. That's end of October. It should be cold. And it's been a while since it's been cold for homecoming. I mean, it was nippy last year. I think I wore a sweatshirt and some jeans, but I could have got away with a t-shirt. I know that. All right. So somehow or another, we have gotten way off the rails. We're not talking about the weather. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Let me see. I think I got all of the comments here. I think I did. Oh, I got one. Susie said her pastor preached from Romans chapter 1, verses 16 through 20. All right. Valerie said, I missed this one. Valerie said, I've decided to leave the church I attended for 16 years because of the drama. And this was early on in the live stream. So I'm assuming it was probably something that was going on that we didn't talk about, or maybe we've talked about before. But I'm definitely praying that you find another church, love, a good, faithful church, or if they at least reach out to you and try to find a resolution to the issue. I think that would be great. What? We can change it to food. I had popcorn for dinner. What about y'all? I had a pasta dish, chicken and pasta dish for Lady Dearwoke Christian's birthday. We found a new little restaurant we wanted to try out, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I don't think we're gonna be going back again, but it wasn't terrible. So but yeah, that's what we had. Thank you so much, Q. Now you got people wanting popcorn. Q actually used to own a popcorn business. I don't know if she ever told y'all that, but Q actually used to own a popcorn like store. Am I right, Q? I definitely know that it was like a popcorn store. There we go, Mary. Come on now. Barbecue ribeye, roasted green beans. That is I approve of that message. Salad and fruit. I approve of all that, all of it. I approve of all of that. Absolutely. How many of you all like, all right, since Mary talked about barbecue, all right, how many of you all like to grill? Are there grillers in the building? I am. I'm team grill. I've actually done popcorn on my green egg before, and it came out really fun. Q said, yep, she was correct. She did it on the popcorn shop. That's a great question. Okay. All right, Gary. Gary asked, what will we eat at the marriage feast of the Lamb? All right. I am okay, and I've never thought this out, so I'm really just kind of expressing it. I think a lot of the food analogies in the book of Revelation and such like that, I don't think they're going to be like real food. I don't think we'll need food like that now, because if there's food, then it means there's death. I don't think there's going to be a need for that. So I don't know. So let me start off, answer your question. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be real food. I don't think it is. But that's going to be my 2 cents. I like that question. That's a good one. I don't know. We always, Brianna, you do realize, Brianne, if I had ended when I said I was going to end, we would not be on food right now. I'm just saying. Susie, my friend, says, I love to grill. My husband does the low and slow smoking. There we go. I love it. I'm going to try I think I have 2 ribeyes I'm going to try this week just to have some fun with and try smoking them. And then I think it's called reverse searing. So you smoke it first, pretty almost done, and you crank up the heat and you just sear it real good. So we're going to see what happens. All right. Eric says, I have a list of things I want to eat. Wait, did it come up? Where'd it go? There we go. Eric says, I have a list of stuff I want to eat at, and I'm hoping I can eat and never get full. There you go. See, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it'll be food. But I mean, I could be wrong. Oh, that's a great question, though. Excellent question, Gary. Thank you so much. See, there's some deep thinkers up there in British Columbia. I like them. Lou says, my older brothers do the grilling. I just make noise and entertain them. Well, there you go. I love it. I love. Mary, maybe we need a Dear World Christian live cookbook. That would be epic. Oh my gosh, that would be so funny. That would be the best. Eric said there better be pizza. I don't know. Like what is it? What is going to be? Now, Christ did say, I will not eat this again until I eat it with you in eternity. But what will it be? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's a great question because there's not really a solid answer. I think it's good because people want to go to heaven and see. I think that's great. I think if nothing else, the fact that you want to be in eternity with Christ is enough for me. Then fine. We can figure out whether it be a Baptist potluck or what. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. But I'm glad you want to be there. I don't think food means death. In the new heaven and new earth, God creates out of nothing. Okay, there we go. But like, why would we need food though? Not trying to be funny. Like, what would be the purpose of food in that regard? If food primarily, now I'm thinking that the marriage supper is an analogy of like the gathering and the festivities of getting around and bringing together 2 families to celebrate the union of a husband and a wife. So in bringing them together, there's this big celebration. That's what I'm thinking of. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if there's food there too. So I don't know, man. He did say drink. You know what, Q? I apologize. Thank you. He did say drink. I don't think he said food. So interesting. Right. But if Christ is, Brianne, I don't disagree. I think it's great. I think this is a great question. Where'd it go? Right there. Okay. Eating is an occasion for joy. So we are going to eat. Hey, let me tell you this. As long as they're not like some vegan, fake, impossible meat or whatever, I'm fine with it. I got no problem with it at all. All I'm just wondering is like, what would be the purpose of it? For our delight and enjoyment. Okay. That's what I think that's why he gave us so much diversity here. We have all of this diversity for our delight and enjoyment right here on earth. But in eternity, he will be our delight and our enjoyment forever and ever. Amen. So hear me. Look, let me tell you, I ain't going to be mad. Look, they could even serve flank steaks. Okay. There's no impossible meat, if you don't mind, Lord, because that stuff should be in the other place for sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just wondering if the idea, Susie says, because it's customary in all traditions for all time to break bread as a show of unity. No arguments, nothing. So I'm just wondering, is it more of an analogy of bringing people together to celebrate the lamb and the marriage supper of the lamb? Or is it just going to be really like truly food? I'm not mad either way. I just want to be there. Let me tell you, as long as I have that white robe of righteousness on, I'm good to go. I'm good. Again, just don't serve impossible meat if you don't mind, Lord. Just don't serve that. Lou says our bodies won't need food. We will only eat for pleasure in eternity. Okay. Hey, again. Brianne says, oh, don't break my heart. I missed today's Baptist potluck. We do a feasting and fellowship first Sunday of every month. We do too. And it was good. It was good. No question about it. But I know from what I've understood, Baptist potlucks are the business. I love them. All right. Jesus ate after the resurrection. So I think we will eat. Okay. Look, let me tell you, I ain't mad about eating. Let me tell you that. Not mad about it. I just wondered, what are we going to be eating? Caramel Corn Town? What are we talking about? I don't know, Q. You might need to bring this back. Seems like a lot of people want to know about this business you had. What do you think about vegan meat? I will betray my perspective and say, if vegan meat strikes me as idolatrous because it's humans thinking they can do what only God can do. Roscoe, I'm going to give you my Jason answer, and then I'll give you a more spiritual answer. Actually, I think your spiritual answer is exactly what I believe. I do believe it's idolatrous. But my Jason answer is, if the vegetables taste so good, why do you want them to taste like meat or look like meat? If carrots are so good, why do you need to make them into vegan bacon? If eggplant is so good, why do you need to make it eggplant parmesan? Why do you need to do that? If it tastes so good, enjoy what you have. Stop trying to make your vegetables taste like meat. Because I have never, ever once taken a steak and try to make it taste like mashed potatoes. I've never taken a chicken breast and said, I want this to taste like broccoli. Never. But y'all forever taking something and trying to make it into a meat product. Cauliflower, making vegan hot wings and all this other stuff. Why? If it tastes so good, then just enjoy it. You don't have to make anything else. But I do think you are right on the money that it is idolatrous. I think it's idolatrous because deep down inside, they do want meat. They can argue with me, and I know the vegans are going to come at me. Please, when you come, vegans, could you please hit the like button 3 times for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost? Hit it 3 times, if you don't mind. But You still want meat. I'm sorry. That's just it. There's no other way around that. You can't give me any. Nope, 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 nope. We did the vegan Bible reading of Genesis. I think they stopped, by the way. So we've already had that discussion. You want meat. Your body, by nature and by design, is meant to eat meat. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be chowing down on, 9 ribeyes all day, but meat is a part of our diet. It's helped us grow and become the people that we are today. That's it. And you can see this, and I think we can really get into some tall weeds about just the fact that when man really started eating meat, being able to cook meat and eat meat, that's when our brains started to grow. Because keep in mind, your body needs fat for cell development. And you might not know this, but when somebody says you're a fathead, they're not lying. Your brain is mostly fat. So as you try not to eat fat and animal fat, you're not helping your cells. You're not helping the very building blocks that are necessary for you to grow and to develop. You've seen these people before. Now, by no means am I saying that you must chow down on everything and that if you eat meat, you're the healthiest person on the block. Nor am I saying that if you don't eat meat, you're unhealthy. All I'm saying, hear what I am saying, is that your body was meant to eat meat. There we go. So that was a great question, man. Come on with the good question. Coming in with a great question. Flank steaks. Absolute flank steaks are great. Yo, not the the B. The wedding feast of the Lamb will be catered by Chick-fil-A. That is funny. That is funny. I love it. Right. Yeah. There we go. Y'all, I just want to be there. I trust, however, our Lord sets it up. There we go. I trust that the Lord is going to make sure that whatever's at that marriage feast, whether it be real food, whether it be allegory food, again, Lord, let's not do impossible meat. Let's not do that. But if it's real food, real meat, whatever, is what we need. So I'm good with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Uh-oh, Lutheran potlucks be getting down? Uh-oh. Okay, now. All right, so Gary, here we go. You're going to have to send me a picture the next time you all have a potluck. Because K-Dub sent me a video of his Baptist potluck, and boy, it was out of control. I was like, man, bro, you about to make me start, man, you got me reconsidering some stuff. So, okay, you got to send me a picture, dearwokec@gmail.com. You got to send me a picture of a really, like, this is the quintessential. This is the coup de grace of Lutheran potlucks. I want to see one. And then I'll get K-Dub to send me his, and we'll do like a on air. What's wrong with me? We'll do an on air. I love it. Yes, see, vegan meat's a lie. And there's no lies in heaven. So there we go. Out of here. Get out of here. No, but you know what, though? Not only this is another thing. It's so laden with chemicals. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The meat, the faux meat that they're trying to pass off as more healthy than a steak or more healthy than chicken breast or fish even, is ridiculously full of chemicals that are nowhere found in nature. I'm sorry, you don't find these binders. You don't find this color in nature. Like, you made that up. So no, they can miss me with that. And Roscoe said, yes, I thought the same thing about making veggies taste like meat. Like, why do you have to make them taste like meat? If meat is so bad, then make them taste like vegetables. Then carrots and broccoli and cauliflower will taste perfectly fine. Why do you want them to taste like meat? All right, let me see. I see some. It's not wrong. I agree, Roscoe. It's not wrong to want meat. God gave it to us. He lowered all kinds of meat down to Peter and said, He said, don't call, I think he meant, don't call unclean what I've called clean. Amen. And hear me, I like vegetables too. So there's definitely no problem with vegetables. All I'm saying is my bacon wrapped asparagus is out of this world. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Brianne, we good. We good. Nobody thinks, no, I don't think anybody thinks that. And if they do, I want them to realize, no, that's not what you were doing. I mean, I tried veganism. I did try vegan and vegetarianism when I first got married, and it was terrible. It was a crazy idea. I don't know why I did it. It was an experiment. I just wanted to try something. I think she said she was accidental for a month. I think what she meant by that is that you said how accidental. I think basically she forgot to go shopping. I think that's what it is. But tell us, Q, what happened? Oh man, I love eggs. Eggs are perfect food. That's cute. I think egg is a perfect food. The yolk is full of fats and fat-soluble vitamins, and the white is enough protein to slow the digestion to a rate you can absorb the vitamins. There you go. Perfect. There's my email if you want to email me your Lutheran or Baptist or Presbyterian potluck pictures. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Future said, sir, if I have to choose between a Baptist and a Presbyterian potluck, I'm choosing Baptist every time. You know what? I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I've seen some Baptist potlucks, and look, there's zero shade thrown. Oh, you know what it is? This is what I want people to do. Let's get a federal mandate that all Baptist potlucks have to be on the second Sunday, because my Presbyterian one is on the first Sunday. And the second Sunday, I can go do like deacon research at the Baptist church and go to the potluck. How about that? Let's make it happen. Somebody call Joe, Weekends at Bernie, and tell him that that's what we're going to do. Oh my gosh. Eladio, the last potluck I was in was at a rooftop patio. You can stop right there. You had me right there. Barbecue buffet, areas to hang around, and views of Manhattan. Oh, wait, it was in New York? Oh, I don't like New York. Almost got me to go, man. Almost got me. All right, what do we got here? I have no idea how we got on food, but this is what we usually do on Sundays. A little bit of family reunion going on. You know, I love the family reunion. Goat cheese, almond stuffed, goat cheese, almond stuffed, bacon wrapped dates. How do you get is the almond like crushed? I can see that. Goat cheese, almond stuff. Like that sounds actually kind of good, but I'm just like, the almonds seem like it would be crunchy, like an obstacle, because the rest of it seemed like it would be chewy and even like soft, but that's the only thing. Let me know. All right, so we got some people talking about, I see Chris Roseborough that came into the conversation. How'd Chris get in here? I love it. I love it. I think Brienne is not a PETA hippie, and I agree. I agree 100%. We do one. Smyrna Presbyterian does one every first Sunday, and there's a few of them. Now, granted, I will say this though, due to busyness of families, I know a lot of people tend to show up with something from the local Publix, which is a grocery store right down the street. So, hey, I ain't mad at them, but it's not, I don't think it falls in the category of a true potluck. But usually when it gets cold, that's when our potlucks kick up a little bit. But I don't think we're gonna ever get in the ballpark of the Baptist potlucks. But we'll try our best. Yeah, most churches do Eladio, and that's actually something. And Eladio says as a former Pentecostal, I appreciate the fact that the church I am regularly does fellowship things. My first church used to take off when service ended. I agree. I mean, whether it be going out to dinner or whatnot like that, we try our best. And I like when churches do that. Spend time with one another, whether it be, again, fellowshipping after church, dinner, going to lunch after church, something like that. It's always good. I feel at least. So you do have crunch to it, really. Goat cheese and almond bacon wrapped. I gotta see that now. For some reason or other, I don't like, because I don't like crunchy like peanut butter. So I'm not like I'm not a crunchy peanut butter guy. So I've never liked it. I'll eat it now. If I need to eat peanut butter or need to eat crunchy almond butter, I'm not gonna turn it down. It's just not what I'm going to the store looking for. So I'm just like, it's like crunchy almonds. Interesting. They don't get soft. Okay, let me stop. All right, there's a lot of family reunion going on here. All right, Susie had a great idea. My church has a hospitality team, and on Wednesday nights, they make a dinner before Bible study. Okay, we do that too. It's a $3 a plate and open for free and the needy, but they have to stay for the lesson. I love it. We do family devotion. I'm sorry, we do family dinner and devotion and prayer on Wednesday nights. So that's kind of cool. All right, what do we got here? I feel like I might have missed something. Uh-oh, what I miss? But it's most. Oh, got you. Okay. All right, just catch up. I see a couple of conversations. I feel like I missed a couple of them. I hate when I miss a couple steps in a conversation, but it is what it is. So I thank y'all so much. This week, I might do another live. I'm thinking about doing one tomorrow once I talk to Chuck and see when we're going to be doing our 7 things to do before you get kicked off or deplatformed from social media. I might do a live just to kind of go over that and talk about it. And I'm working on fixing up Dear Woke Central here. So I would love to have my sound effects working and all that kind of stuff like that. So I might do a live again this week, possibly Monday or maybe Tuesday, just to test out things and make sure that everything works like it should. But this Thursday coming up, 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time, Podium Studio is going to have its official ribbon cutting. And it should be a big deal. I mean, the newspaper's coming and quite a few friends and stuff like that are coming. So hopefully it'll be a good turnout and a good opportunity for people to see what we're doing at the studio, what all the buzz is about. No, y'all are not going to be drinking kale in eternity. I hope that's what y'all are talking about. But so that's what's going on. And then Lord willing, next Sunday, I'm hoping that me and Chuck can do our class. So I'll keep you all posted on that. If you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, that's where I'll be hosting it. So check me out there. The link is right there. Dear Woke CH at Buy Me a Coffee. I'd love for you to come check us out. Again, if you're a content creator or know a content creator, I would love for them to come and find out. Let's just talk about some things that we can do to prepare ourselves if ever we are jettisoned off of social media. What's going on, Violet? You know what, Violet? I was going to talk about it. It's in my notes, and I'm so glad that you're here. Violet Shakune did a great review of The Breakfast Club. Now, if you follow me, you know I don't like The Breakfast Club because I think they are the worst of black people. They just bring out the lowest low, the low of black people. Well, for a while, and Violet did a wonderful, asked some great questions. One of the hosts of the Breakfast Club has been very, very uninviting, unhospitable to people who are her ideological adversaries. And I forgot how to pronounce her name, and I'm not going to waste my time talking about it. However, when Vivek was on, when other Larry Elder was on, she was just out of pocket. She was so rude, so disrespectful. And I mean, I'm saying that in the most kind way possible. She was terrible. She was horrible. However, recently she sat down and talked with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the Breakfast Club as well. And her behavior and attitude was totally different. And I just thought it was interesting. And Violet, Teslin is her name. Okay. Violet did a great job of pointing that out. Like, why is it that she's speaking so differently? You would almost think it's a tale of two Teslins, because when Vivek and Larry Elder were on, both of them are men of color. She was very rude and disrespectful to them, very condescending, asking the most out-of-pocket questions possible. But then when Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's a white man, was on, she treated him totally different. What's going on? What happened? Where was all that negative energy for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I'm just wondering. And I mean, the questions were high tier and the whole nine. It was just really interesting. Now, I know that the Breakfast Club is another one that loves to hit you with that copyright strike. So if I can get that on there, if I can destroy that video, I might bring it on just so we can look at it, because I think it was interesting. But Violet, if you please check out Violet. If you're not already following Brie and Babe's podcast, check her out. Great channel, excellent commentary. Highly recommend. Let her know Dear Woke Christian sent you. So check her out. Because she was enamored with Kennedy, with the Kennedy idolatry. Okay, then let that be known, let that be said. I got no problem with it. Oh, got you. I got you now. Because I did forget that. You know what, Future? Put a D after your name and see what happens. You're right. I totally forgot about that. But I mean, it goes to show that these people are not genuine. Your interests are not organic. Your interests are based purely on your ideological views. And that's unfortunate, because it doesn't make you look like you're a fair dealer. It doesn't make you look like somebody that people can say, hey, I'm going to get some fair questions. I'm going to get treated the same way that your political comrades get treated. Oh, no. I know that you're going to treat me differently than your political comrades because I am ideologically adverse to you. And that's not a good look. I try my best to treat people here, even on this channel. You can disagree with me. I try not to be terrible. Sometimes I have been. I got to work on that too. But for the most part, I'm not trying to berate you. I'm going to read them dusty comments though. When you get them dusty comments, they are going to get the dust blown off of them up in here. Now that's going to happen. But for the most part, I'm trying to be fair to you. But so that's that, everybody. Let's so yeah, this week I'd probably do another live, just a mic check, because I got a couple more things to move around here in the desk, and then I think I'll feel comfortable saying that it's good to go. And because my desk is not clean today, I don't like that. Y'all know me. I like my desk clean. I'm a minimalist, and this desk is not minimal at the moment. It is very unminimal, but we'll just keep it going. So I'll hopefully do that Monday or Tuesday. Tomorrow's Labor Day, so I might do a little live just to go and talk about it real quick. And then on Thursday, I'm going to try to do a live stream from the studio at the ribbon cutting. Maybe I'll do a live ribbon cutting. That should be fun. I got to work on that, yeah. I might have to have the Whitaker Talk Show in the house to help me out. And then after that, this weekend, next weekend, Lord willing, we'll do another live, another Sunday wrap up, all that kind of good fun stuff as we rounding our bases for the year. This year has gone fast, man. How in the world are y'all talking about comic books? How are y'all doing that? You all are the best. I tell you, you got ADHD on lock. Yo, absolutely. Thank you, Susie. We have a biblical mandate to love those who don't agree with us. Absolutely. And I try my best to. I try to demonstrate Christ likeness with people who disagree with me. I'm still going to read those dusty comments, though. I'm just going to say that. How are y'all talking about comic books, though? Y'all are funny. I love it. Yeah, let's just tell the truth. Like DC and Marvel have been so full of wokeness and terrible stuff. Yeah, I've been sorely disappointed in what they've been putting out. But so they just don't get my money. Now I did do a Dusty Comments unit earlier. It was actually email crime unit because I just haven't used the email crime unit yet. What's going on, Reform Brian? Good to see you. Grace and peace. All right, what we got here? I love it. It's by Big Man Comics. Okay, so there's a Dean Cain Lawman, and I'm super excited about it by Big Man Comics. Okay, cool. I love it. I think there's definitely room there for new or fresh comic book ideas. Actually, I got behind me ISOM #1, ISOM #2. I know I talked about that last year and earlier this year. Eric July of the Rippaverse came out with his own comic book line. I'm just impressed with the fact that he's been able to do this and keep putting out pretty good comics. I mean, again, you're talking about somebody with superpowers and all this kind of stuff like that. So you do have to suspend a little bit of judgment, but I'm like, hey, these are some really good comics and they're well drawn, well thought out. The new one, I had to say, the first one had a couple of pages in it that were adverts for various and sundry things in it. So it was like 96 pages, but like maybe 4 or maybe 5 of them were adverts. This one right here is nothing but pure. It's action from page 1 all the way to the end, and it's a thick book. So, that's kind of cool, man. I want to give him credit for that. That's something dope. Did you see he get... What? Wait, who? Wait, did you see... Dear World Christian, did you see he is getting sued because of some fake journalist? I think you're talking about Eric July. Are you talking about Eric? Oh, they've been trying everything under the sun to stop Mr. July. And the bad thing is, if that's who you're talking about, if you're talking about Eric, the bad thing is that they might have guaranteed, oh, you are talking about Eric. If he's getting sued for some fallacious reason and some fake reason, they've guaranteed that the next book is going to be the biggest seller ever. Because Eric's fan base is insane. They're out of control. They love Eric's project. So if that's the case, then they've guaranteed that thing's gonna be a $5 million seller. I'm just telling you. Man, hold on. Oh yeah, I am still reading a book a week. Hey. I am still reading a book a week, and I just been reading slow. I don't know why, but I've been reading slow. So yeah, man, so this is his the first project. I saw him #1. It is if nothing else, it's well drawn. It looks fantastic, and so this is book #2, and I think I got he had several different cover options for all of them. So like this one, I think is cover B. And I think he had 4 altogether. I don't know why I didn't get the first one. But this is cover A for the first book. And they're well drawn and they're thick. Like, this book is really a thick book. I'm like, great day. Like, that's so anyway, it just goes to show, like, if you give people what they want, people wanted a good story. And this is, I don't know why Disney, I don't know why Marvel, I don't know why DC can't figure this out. If you give people good stories, they really truly don't need representation. We don't need representation. We need good stories. Good stories. And I'll give you another example. And I'm sorry. All right. So okay, let me give you an example. Marvel Comics. And let me just tell you this, full disclosure. I was a Marvel comic fan as a little guy. I mean, middle school, I was a Spider-Man fan. Okay. I was a Spider-Man guy. As a little guy in middle school, I was about it. Okay. I really liked comics. And the laziness that we see in 2023 centered around Spider-Man should absolutely infuriate all old head, established comic book fans like myself. What I mean by that is, thank you so much, Winston. I appreciate you. What I mean by that is Miles Morales, aka Peter Darker, is literally Peter Parker just in blackface. That's all it is. I mean, his story literally runs parallel to Peter Parker. So much as Gwen Stacy, so much as Uncle Ben, how he got his spider powers, the na, 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 na. But watch this. They're so lazy. How lazy are they, Jason? I thank you for asking. They're literally following along. And if you're not a comic book fan, sometimes what comic books will do is they'll do like a 6-part series that's centered around one topic, or maybe a 9-part or 12-part series, and it's called a story arc. And so there might be a story arc where Peter Parker fights against the Sandman, okay? And let's say it goes on for 3 episodes. That's called a 3-episode story arc. And at the end of it, there's some kind of resolution. Sandman gets put in jail. Peter Parker saves the day, whatever like that. All right. Those are story arcs. And so the larger the story arc, sometimes they're called events. Well, an event might be 12, 15 books and 12, 15 books. And then it has what's called crossovers, where maybe it's not only Peter Parker and Spider-Man, it might go to the Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man, and then even carry over into the Avengers, so on and so forth. It's called an event. All right. Now, the reason I'm bringing all of this up is in the 90s and early 2000s, there were lots of events with Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Well, once they introduced Miles Morales, they redid a lot of those events. And they're just literally, again, you can be mad at me because I call him Peter Darker or Peter Parker in blackface if you want to, but they're not even giving him an original story arcs. They're literally using the same story arcs from Peter Parker. And that's that laziness that I've talked about before. And I know some of y'all are like, no, this dude is over here ranting about comic books. The Clone Saga. Yes, that's the one I was talking about. Yes, Miles' family is still alive. That is but trust me, if they could have got away with it, they would have killed his parents. Trust me. But notice everything else is very similar. He's just Peter Parker. He's just black. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. He's just black. Everyone is literally Spider-Man now. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, he has his own. He has his own Venom. He has his own Carnage. He has, again, is nothing more. They're not being original. But my point is, rather than be original, DC, Marvel, Disney, fill in the blanks, because every single movie, comic book, television show that gets crazy pushback. The Rings of Power, fill in the blank, all of that, all of the Disney remakes that they've been doing. Every last one of them did not need to happen. They did not need to happen. I understand, but nobody asked for a little mermaid, a little black girl as Ariel. Nobody asked for it. And guess what? Nobody needed it. Nobody did. And therefore, that's why that movie didn't do as well as Barbie. They could have done an original character. And I've said this before. I've done literally an entire video looking at all of the characters that DC and Marvel own. They literally own these characters. They already own an entire pantheon of black characters. And then we even went as far to look at folklore from regions specifically like Asia and North Africa and other places like that, Latin America, South America, and see like there's tons of folk tale stories that have never gotten any superhero, never gotten a comic book treatment, never got a television show. So why is it that you have to do a black Ariel, Disney? Why? Why do you have to do a black Spider-Man? There's literally hundreds of characters that they could have done, and they didn't need a black Peter Parker. They didn't need it. The only reason is they're lazy. And then they'll get mad at you that you don't want to support their really bad projects. And don't tell me about representation, because nobody needs representation. What does representation do? In a fictitious world where somebody gets bit by a radioactive spider and they can climb on walls and shoot stuff out of their wrists, why do you need to see, or a little girl can sing underwater? Come on, explain to me why you need to see a black person in that role. The dude dresses up like a bat in the middle of the night. Come on, why do you have to have a black person do that? Ain't that racism? I mean, it's just stupid. Because you know why? Because the only true characters, that they view as valid are white characters. The only Superman that's valid is Clark Kent. The only Amazonian that's valid is Wonder Woman. The only mermaid that's valid is Ariel. Fill in the blank. That's it. They don't, but we know that's not true. There are countless other examples. Matter of fact, I did it again in the video. You don't need representation. There actually was a black mermaid that they could have used. She could sing. She was deaf. They had all the intersectionality boxes checked, but nope. They chose to take the white mermaid and make her black and then get mad at you that you didn't want to go watch it. How are we here? How did we get here? I don't even understand. But so long story short, I think they all are destined to fail because they're not giving people what they want. Now I'm going to say again, Eric is giving people what they want. They want to read a good comic. They want to read a good development of a character. So Eric's book is going to be a 3-part story arc. So the next one will be the end of that arc, and then he's going to go into another arc or maybe an event or whatever. But as it relates to this particular topic, why is Disney not doing that? Why is Marvel not doing that? Why is DC not doing that? Why do they keep rehashing and taking characters and changing their gender, swapping their ethnicity, making them some kind of intersectionality bingo participant? Why? When you have characters that you can use. And please convince me that I'm wrong when I say that the only characters that are valid are white characters. If it wasn't true, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Now, and then we can also say, it's not true because if they took Black Panther and turned him white, y'all would be up in arms, up in a tizzy. So you know that there's got to be an issue. The reason why you wouldn't allow a a white guy to be Black Panther, but you'll allow a black girl to be Ariel. DearWokeC@gmail.com if you have a question, comment, concern about what I am saying. Oh, and I did a whole podcast last week talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. I'm going to save those because I used to and again, middle school, high school, I used to be team Next Generation. I love Star Trek. I loved it. I didn't like Deep Space Nine. I think once Star Trek, the Next Generation started to fade out and Deep Space Nine and the others started taking prominence, I kind of left it alone. But I digress. I did a whole podcast. We were talking about the Force is female type of situation. And again, they're going to struggle because people can only suspend reality to such a degree. And people are not going to suspend their reality that far. Because you really got to suspend reality to believe some of the stuff that is transpiring in Star Wars, Star Trek now. Like you have to really like disengage all understanding. Like it's no longer you're telling a good story. It's literally intersectionality Olympics. And how can we be as intersectional as possible? Story be what it is. But we've got to hit all of the intersectionality boxes. And it's only going to cause them to fail. They're only going to struggle more. They're only going to struggle more. Jean-Luc Picard was a great character. And all they did was remove his teeth and made him this old man that is second and third and quadruple guessing his own self. And rather than the stalwart that we know him to be, or we liked him to be, they made him something else that was really just, nobody even recognized Jean-Luc. Like, who is this guy? He looks like Patrick Stewart, but he don't act like him. Who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. And so, okay, I've never watched Japanese anime or whatnot like that, but I interviewed a artist here, an author here in Atlanta and in the Marietta area who's doing his own comic book. And we got to get that out there too now. Thank you for reminding me of that. I got to get that episode dropped. So I did a comic book episode and I interviewed a author about his comic book. I can get these up on the channel. So make sure you're watching it. But yeah, I've never watched them, but I'll have to check them out. Okay, so I see where you are. Where are you? Okay, I was hoping, I didn't watch Picard either. I did watch a couple snippets on YouTube. Same thing with Brave New Worlds or Strange New Worlds. That's Star Trek as well. Kind of peeped it out a little bit, trying to see what's going on. I got lots of questions about Strange New Worlds. But with Picard, I thought it was going to be just be a deep dive into the mental theatrics that the first episode, at least, that Q had brought into the equation when he first brought the Enterprise, when he brought the Enterprise crew up on trial. I thought it was just going to be like a rehash of that. So I was a little bit, I was hoping that was it. I had to say I wasn't disappointed in the Borg episode. I thought it was kind of weird, again, that, Picard has a son, another son with Beverly Crusher. I thought that was strange. Spoiler alert. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I just thought that was kind of strange. The dates didn't work for me. I don't know where y'all going with that. Those dates were weird. But again, I don't think that many of the comic book or movies or even story shows rather are leaning on good stories. I think they're only relying on, if we can get enough boxes checked, people will come to watch. And there's a problem with that because the people that want you to check boxes don't usually, in droves, come to support your project. And we've seen this in countless movies where they've done the intersectionality Olympics, they've got the gold medal, but nobody comes to watch it. Nobody comes to watch Indiana Jones. Nobody's coming to watch female James Bond. Nobody's coming to watch these things. But people came in droves to watch Top Gun. But people support things that do, in fact, speak to them. They don't need representation. But you are trying to bend over backwards for this micro fraction of a population that needs representation, that needs to feel some kind of way when they watch something, but they're not paying attention to the story. So therefore, the story doesn't drive it. It's the intersectionality. It's the diversity Olympics that you're feeding into, and they don't come to watch your show. And you could actually have the most diverse possible, and they don't actually watch it. Okay, so Jason, they bring back the Enterprise D for the last season of Picard, and people go nuts and forget that the whole show is garbage. Okay, that last season though, bro, it was nostalgia all over the place. So it definitely look. There's definitely a suspension of logic that you have to have in order to enjoy Star Trek, Picard, and all of them actually. But yeah, I got you. I totally get you. But I thought it was great. I was happy to see the whole the Next Generation crew. I was happy to see Enterprise D. I suspended a whole bunch of reality to enjoy it, and yeah, I now that was a clip. I actually watched the whole thing, but do you think we are convicting ourselves a la Romans because we don't want these women-led films and shows that we crave the male leadership that God designed in our entertainment? Yes, but I also don't think it comports with reality. Uh, It's not realistic. For example, um, I saw a clip from a show. I think it's called The Vikings or Vikings or something, and it was gruesome. So this guy, he was on his deathbed, and he got on the horse, and he was like, they sent him out to the enemy, and the enemy shot him, and he would not die. The guy was like not going to give up, and he raised his sword, and the horde of other Vikings came, and there was a ton of women. They even had kids. They even had children in the horde of Vikings to fight this established army. And I don't, in my mind, I was like, what are they fighting for? If the women and the children are here fighting, what's the purpose? What are they fighting for? I can understand men would be fighting to preserve their families, to protect their children, their lineage, their land. But literally, your lineage and your land are all, your lineage and your family are fighting alongside you. It just seemed really weird. And it seemed like, I don't believe that's what they were doing. I don't believe, sure. Was it possible? Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. Sure. It's very possible there was a woman Viking that was fighting. Sure. But that many of them, though? I mean, because it was a lot. It was a lot of them. Is that really what it was? Really? So to me, I feel like they're removing, not only are they removing male headship, they're actually removing why we go to war in the first place. They're making it make no sense. All in an effort and attempt to win the intersectional Olympics and, be avant-garde if you will. But I don't think it doesn't make sense. Now we can also add to it that God designed for men to work these things out with with fists and sometimes with other means. Okay. But it just doesn't seem to make sense. But what is the goal of that? Like, what are you trying to depict? That women are the exact same as men, that there is no difference between men and women, and that's not true. So I think it's interesting. Um, yeah, I just it just seems weird. Like, what are y'all fighting for? The men, am I fighting for my land? Am I fighting for my wife and kids? My wife is standing right next side of me. My kids are right here. I mean, literally, I almost want to find that episode. I have no idea. It popped up in my, it popped up in my feed, and I ran across. I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. And I don't know why I watched. It might have been 5, 6 minutes long, and I was just watching, like, wow, that guy's not gonna die. That dude is he is not dying. But all these women were there to fight. Like it seemed crazy. It seemed crazy. Now, does that mean now is this something new? No. Did Tolkien have women fighting? Absolutely. I mean, for crying out loud, there's women fighting and doing deeds of heroism in Scripture. So I'm not saying that it's a fluke. All I'm saying is that it's not common, and we're making it common. Oh yeah, women fighting all the time. No, they're not. That's not true. That's not what. That's not how. That's not true. That's not what was going on. So, fighting for the right to enjoy pizza. What are you talking about? I love it. Fighting for the right to eat pizza. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, yes, you are correct, Roscoe. Again, there is scripture that admonishes us and chastises us by claiming that our warriors will become women and a child shall lead you. And it's not a good thing. You are correct. No argument there at all. And so when you see, like, I was talking about the Strange New World episodes, and I'm like, wow, I haven't watched the show, like sat down and taken in like a whole season. I'm just seeing a couple clips, and their bridge is very diverse. Let's just say, I was like, that just doesn't make sense. So no, I think you make a great point, Roscoe. Excellent point. All right. All right. Good people. Thank y'all so much. That was fun. Now I'm going to get in trouble because I had supported Eric July and his ISOM project. So y'all might need to buy me a coffee because they're about to kick me out of here for that. Yeah, DC and Marvel, they're going to come get me because I said they're lazy. I said Peter Darker again. I talked about Lecrae and his bad, wonky theology. Man, Corey Miner's going to come get me because I played a clip of his video. I texted him and told him though, so hopefully he'll be okay with that. Won't beat me up. Man, I'm going to get in trouble for that, but it's been fun, everybody. So God willing, this week I'm going to do another mic check as I finish a couple things here in the studio. And then Thursday, I'm doing a live, preferably a live ribbon cutting at our studio as we do our ribbon cutting. Preferably it'll all go well. It'll be a good turnout. Lots of people have been invited. I think the mayor was invited. I mean, it's crazy. So preferably it'll be a good turnout. And nothing else. I just hope that people will get a good chance to see what Podium Studio is about and how they can be a part of it, how I can help them in their business. So I thank you all so much for that. I appreciate your prayers. Thank you for this conversation tonight. This was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to, Lord willing, doing it again. And I'll let y'all know. I'll make sure it's not 10 o'clock or whatever time that was initially. I have no idea what happened there, but I'll make sure that we have a chance to do that. And everybody, I thank you all so much. I appreciate every last one of you. Let's do this again, Lord willing, real soon. Take care. God bless. See you soon. We're out.